This day 701 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Taf Lamed Tes Ziv Vav to Yud Beis. Okay, you didn't find the loaves. But that because fake fake we are there. Sham it's shnei fakos yabok echad. We mentioned yesterday about fake fakos, so the two fakos have to devolve simultaneously. But if they come consecutively, law is fake fake and sham it's not considered fake fake. Can hocha in boim zeh in the seem to come consecutively. The sheikhnas habarach bayis when the mouse enters the house. Yesh so fake about menichnas. In chametz or matzah, not sure what he came in with chametz or matzah. But then ain't kan safek shema chalto. But we don't. There's still a safek that maybe ate it. Sharei hu shalem b'nei. Right now it's whole. Then the second safek falls. Shema chalto. Maybe it ate it. But it's a fake since they're sequential. Is probably a better term than consecutive. They ain't okay. So the says no, that's not the case. It's still fake fake. The hachla don't want to get a cholim Pesach. It's very cute chap. That says it's fake fake arises when Pesach devolves, when Pesach ensues, I should say. When there's some chametz ensues. So therefore, when the suffix ensues, you already have both fakes in effect. Furthermore, as long as the different answer, as long as the loaf is in the mouth of the mouse, there's no suffix. No suffix before. That's but you no longer saw it in the mouse's mouth. At that moment, both fakes devolve. The suffix whether he brought chametz or matzah, the suffix whether he ate it, comes simultaneously. Here it says an interesting yisoid, which is it's in a suffix hakurv levadai, which means it's not a suffix hashokol. It's not a 50-50 suffix. When it's fekos is more inclined towards let's say 90%, almost definite. So then is fake we use it for fake sake no matter that it's sequential. That's from the Kor Chaim. Because we'll taste the sham, and that's based on tastes and Ksuas, I assume, since that's daf test. Says sham daf test, it's a daf test now. So going back to the Ksuas. I don't know, wherever it is. So inyan tuma damin fakes faker must be Ksuas. Then it says, we say fake faker. Subject to Mushas Yaglam, Mahai fake faker. So they could ask the question, by subject to Mushas Yaglam, fake faker doesn't work. So evidently, since that is a Hochamoch Misina, it doesn't combine with another suffix, some way, shape, or form. I don't recall. But here today said that Achila Adif Mishar Sveikos, know that something was eaten is superior to other Sveikos, to suffix Arogim Bakar Levadai. It's a prevalent suffix. And it is almost close to completely known or factual that happened. It says in brackets, it's not complete evidence. That's about meat. Meat is much more likely to be consumed. Perhaps according to Rava, you don't have to make the distinction. Take a look there and learn it in depth. This is all according to Torah. Rambam Shechmir B'dika Rabbanon. Rambam Moses, who's machmir by B'dika, even the issues of the Rabbanon. Yeshlama Shechmir I feel the Svek Sarbi. It is machmir no matter how many Svekas we can bring to bear. I feel the Kikar Kadon Svek Lev even if it's a small loaf where it might probably not less than Kazais left, you still would have to check. As it sounds like the Beisais is the Rambam and Kilub and Kikar Cotton. There's no difference whether it's a big loaf or a small loaf. Okay, it says back it's kind of a grass about time, right? It says the time of Ramu, because the Ram's rationale is that Sashate Abdika Brura has to be definite checking. The kachas that that's the takon of chachamim. Therefore, you have to check it with the least suffix, so to speak. The bracket says here, "Batas you've come basic shala tour." You asked in kingdom kikadol you svek sveka. There's a question on the tour. By large loaf, there's a svek sveka. Shema kakarlach barim achirim. Maybe the mouse called other mice. She included they should eat. Because of the taste of mafkin. The Yerushalmi says that the mice call their other mice. Not other mice. A mouse calls other mice to eat. It's not comparable, says the Imam was Elian Lotzi Mammon. Has to do with Hilchas Shoimrim and how much the mice would eat of something which is stockpiled. No more killing a king or echo bachbar. Echo is there. There's a term mominous. Who's going to say this thing here in terms of one loaf, one mouse, and where there's the prevalence of mice. And in terms of Isabater, it's supposed to dini mominous. The Mishnah Berurah writes in the Ramah that the loaf is small, that you don't have to check. That the opinion is not according that question according the Mechaber also concedes this or not. You can rely on the Ramah. Certainly when you did bittul, and the Prima Gaon says it certainly is appropriate to do a batel and not to rely on the sveka in and of itself. And Mishnah Berurah also evidently holds like the Rambam. The Bedika is much more severe. Ches v'nei k'vi adim she's according to these halachas which have been clarified. Miyakan kupa achas klarovus chametz u'matzah. If there was one a basket full of chametz u'matzah, ba'asach bar b'shakul, and a mouse came and took from that basket. We go after the majority. If most of the basket was chametz, you have to check. Most of the basket was matzah. Instantly, you don't have to check. The chol she'ena heter nikavei fnei atzmo b'yisur b'nei atzmo lo kavua. Because any time the isur and heter are not distinct, there is no principle of kavua. Even though we know that if there are pieces in the mixture, or the mixtures comprise the pieces which are large pieces, which are suitable to serve the guests. There's a din kavod rabbanan involved. Here it's not relevant. The entire is because it comes to a mixture of isser to other reasons to say that which don't apply here. Test. You have two piles. The two houses in front of us. One is checked, one isn't checked. And two mice came. One took chametz, one took matzah, and do laser bias. We don't know which house was entered by the mouse with the chametz. So too, you have two houses which are checked. And only one pile of chametz. And a mouse came and took. They don't know to which house he entered. Or you know which one he entered, but you went afterwards and didn't find anything. Or so check part of the house, when you found a loaf, and you don't have to go back and check. Again, in all these cases. The time they came to my real lachabitul, this is all case about after bitul, how about second Rabbanah. On second Rabbanah we can believe. I've got to be kavua hichmir Rambam second Rabbanah when she's bar, even though when we were talking about kavua, where the mouse well, free received from it, the mouse took from the kavua. Same case actually, so it's you'll see. Avocado got to be kavua. It's a cloud where we can be told that maybe it went into the house which had which was not baduk, not the house which was baduk, and so on and so forth. Since we can be told on something which we can really hang ourselves on something, on some possibility which would be making mutter. Maybe no prohibited substance problematic at all. That works even because chametz. this talia, this it's a hard word to translate. Hanging, linking, that I say, which you find all over in many different cases. So it's like truma. I say you have um, two boxes, one of truma, one of coin, and you have mice which take one from truma, one to take anything. Take it. Miles takes some truma and puts in one of these two boxes, so we assume it's in the box of truma and such like. So this is a universal concept. Constantly, so here we say that the mouse and chametz went into the non-checked houses. Shnei batim dukim, two houses that both are checked. Kol chad b'chaver, each one assumes went to the other house, like Shnei Shvilim. Even though we don't, by somebody don't do that. We don't say, well, went into the other one, by Truma and by Nida. Where you find a kesem, you want to know from which woman it came. Where they're both on the same level of an issue. And in fact, here distinguishes between they come as together. In which case they both require bdika. When they come at one after each other, which they don't need bdika, which of course is like the two paths. You don't know which one went through the Torah path, which one went on the Tamei path, so they both come together. We have to say they're both Tamei. Each one separately stand each one that it's Torah. I do B'Shas and Sham, which is well known. Ram doesn't draw such a distinction. But so why not? They came to Kol Bayis. Why is there a distinction where they came together separately? They came to Kol Bayis Yesh Safik Nichas Klalach Barukan. We know for sure that the mouse entered the house. Of a Safik Abi, Usabia Enamotu de Vazai B'Dika. And the suffix that maybe he went in does not take away from the definite checking. Call suffix bia. Anytime you have a suffix in where the gut came in, because chametz ba'isa baduk, achabito, and when every time we talk about after the house is checked, and the bit you also by the chametz tanuku, we assume that we can be make and say that mouse didn't go in or it's not there, etc., etc. Masha'in came a kavua as opposed to kavua havi vade bia. Since it's where it's kavua, then and there's no choice but to say it went in. So that there's no when it's kavua. Sorry, then we say it definitely went in. That's even by a suffix. That's a little bit of a difficult distinction to understand, but it's this thing because the Torah here also about kavua. It's just two mice went to two piles or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how to understand this difference. Again, he says that. But he threw a monkey wrench into the system here. The monkey wrench she threw and said we can regard this as a suffix bia. I guess because that's what he meant. He said, "Ein yodua lays in nichnas." So it's just an assumption he went to the house. We know for sure went to a house. We have to be machmir. That's what Arukh HaShulchan seems to be learning. When we know, and we can't be told. When we don't know for sure went into the houses, it's just likely. So then we can say toilet. Okay. That's what it seems to be saying. Okay? The bracket says, even though the Gemara itself makes a linkage to two shvilim, you farish to two paths, you farish around the Mayim B'Shlobita, that's when it was, the Rambam said that's when there was no nullification. Nevertheless, it's difficult. Who made him learn this way? He brings so rise that there is no din of shnei shvilim by there's no din of shnei shvilim, and therefore let's say we can both say Torah. It was as if we can say about shnei shvilim both Torah simultaneously. It says here. Here deals what we were speaking about a few moments ago. So anyway, Rabbanan Dem Shnei Shvilim means you can be makel by Shnei Shvilim. Now he says, even they come together, you can say Torah on both. Achmash Kasav do should make a suffix bia. Is that what you want? They lenient by a suffix bia. So the dafka b'shnei batim. So by two houses, evidently we can add the mitzaref, the possibility that it didn't go into the house. the Bais Echad Machir, which she's supposed to see few base. By one house, he's Machmir. We're going to see that. The Divrei Torah is the Shas, but the Torah says seems to go into ours, the simple sugi, the sugi of the Shas, Ein Tas Kondam, Korchayin, Kvi Mashtabli, is a shopping of a duk. Kind of what we works out well, but I'm not sure this works out so well. But Safek Bia, you would only say with the tziruf of two houses, not where it's just one house. Mishmur says that if you checked and didn't find anything, the Torah says that it works even if you weren't mevatel. And if you check part of the house and you found the loaf, Mishmur writes that if you weren't mevatel, also we can be lenient. You would you left 10 loaves, 9 loaves. So you found 10 loaves. You have to check for all 9. If you left 10 and found 9, so you have to check for all the 10. Shanarim, we say, Mashiniach Natlu. Whatever he put down originally, for B'digas Chametz evidently, is gone. These are other ones. I feel beaten, even nullified. But I mean, Motzah Tisha Shetzor Dok Achar Kol Asara. That which says that if you left 10 and found 9, so it's going to have to check after all the 10. So only if they were tied together. If they weren't tied together, you only have to find one more. End quote from the Torah. Mashman sounds like to be near Tisha Motzah Asara. If you left 10, 9 and found 10, if you even they aren't tied together, so you have to check for all 9. Unfortunately, because of no such name, but Moshe Porter said no. What he says works on both the 9 and 10 and the 10 in 9 cases. And Mishabur writes, if you left 9 and found 10, there's no nafkamina. No, you have to check after all the other 9. Okay, it's a big chumrah. You have around Perek Beis Din Zayin Kosev B'Barak Lo Yudal. Ram writes, if you checked in for day 9-14. Nech es a house, he left 10 houses. One citation found 9. It's a question the dog you have to be concerned, check again. A mole or a mouse must have dragged it somewhere. And later on, he left 9 and found 10. So the dog got to check. The Kol Bedina Din, and he left it in Kugus and Alachav. The Yech Bezav Yisuf left chametz in this corner, and so the chametz Zacheres found another corner. Near heading me the Chakush Shtei Mekayimos must be that since he splits these halachas apart, Shelo Dami Ladadi, they're not comparable. The Miniach Eser Motzei Teisha, when he left 10 and found 9, and so Libdok El Achar Shechoser. You only have to check for the one you're missing. If there's an added one, Shiach Teisha Motzei Eser. I mean, the left 9 found 10. I mean, we say the Gamrech is in these are completely other ones. Just like you left in one corner, Matzah Zav is found another corner. So the dog Arakul, you have to check for all of them. Lois Kishur Klai doesn't mention that they're tied together at all. And Beis Yosef Siv Gimel Shehevi, that's the Rambam. He brings down the Rambam and it says V'niach Asar Matzah Tisha, 9 and left 10 found 9. Gankin because of the leave dog Achar Sukha Asara. Also, you have to check after all the 10. Doesn't do good. Ayin Sham. Lo Yadati. You can't love the Rambam L'Miflagin Mishnei Mekayimos. You don't say that halachos are the same. I don't understand why the Rambam put them in 2 separate places. Also in Bates, it seems clear they're tied together. Does Tzarech leave dog Arukh? That's when you have to check for all of them. They're not tied together. Ain't so you don't have to. Well, this kid Cloud Shrim doesn't mention tied together at all. It says no. You only have to check for that one. Okay, because it's if you. Tisha Matzah Sar Gam Atumah That's Dok Achar Kulam. My body like Echad Tzarech Leave Dok. L'chein K'vim Mashkasam it seems if you Niach Tisha. Yeah, that's when you left 10 and found 9. But for L'chein K'vim Mashkasam the Niach Tesha Matzah you 9 and found 10. You have to check for all of them. Locally around Matur, they don't argue. And it seems to be the halacha. I mean, no difference if you nullified or did not nullify. Mishabur writes that if they're not tied together, they only check for one. that that's only Mavatel, or is there's time still to be Mavatel? You bet. It's because of Rambam. Rambam writes, he found chametz in one, left chametz in one corner, Matzah Zavis Acheres, Acher found another corner, Oshani of Tisha Chalos Matzah Eser, left 9 chalos and found 10. Or Shabbat Achbar V'Natal Chametz, or a mouse came and took the chametz. So if Nichlas the bias Zeh or Lo Nichlas, so if he went to this house or not, Chol El Tzarech Livdok. All these have to check. Akol Shono. Came Mashim Gemara, and that seems Gemara as well. Suffix al suffix lahal suffix if it went in and didn't go in. So B'dika Ayin Shom, requires to be checking. But in case Lo Mekel B'Shnei Batim B'Dukim. Oh, that's the question we had before. Why were there were 2 houses which were checked? He was Mekel. Nicholas Chametz, which I received test. Akbar went into one of them, and for some reason here it's not coming out, at least not yet. The suffix bia. So Achlomar Shemchai ben Bayis Shnei Batim. Avay Mevam Ma ben Zelzeh. What's the difference between one house and 2 houses? L'chein Eli the Gam Sham Mashkos Ram Chein B'Shnei Batim B'Dukim Tzivur Chametz. Oh, so everybody says that which Ram wrote over there, 2 houses which is checked, and a pile of chametz. The mouse came down into which house he went. We know he went to one of them. He went after and didn't find anything. Or he found one. He found a loaf. The base batim have Nichnas Achra means that you went after. In other words, you didn't just go into one of the 2 houses. You followed it, and then did one of these pulos. You found something, you found a loaf, or you didn't find anything, etc., etc. But otherwise, you have to check. No question. Even though Farshim didn't say this, I think that's the pshat. It says, this answers everything they asked. Now, the truth is that it's a little bit difficult, because it seems from the Rambam that I'm not it seems he's changing his tune, because before it seemed he came out to Suffolk Bia, and now he's saying no, there's no Suffolk Bia. But this works out much better, because as we said before, I don't know how the Suffolk Bia, how he threw in, how he came onto it. The Shabura says that when he found left chametz in one corner, found another corner, if he was a Bavato or there's time to Bavato, you don't have to go back and check. The Sharatzin says that's only by the whole question is only by a large loaf, but with a small one, we can assume that this is the first chametz was eaten by a mouse, and this is a different chametz, but this is different chametz, and you don't makes this fake and you don't have to go back and check again.